Hello again, grade 12s. Today is the last lesson in our series on settlement, and we're looking at urban issues. So as far as the United Nations is concerned, they did a projection in 2015, and in this they said that 68% of the world's population was projected to live in urban areas by the year 2050. So these projections show that urbanization, which we know is the movement of people from rural areas to urban areas, this combined with actual population growth of the world's population is going to add another 2.5 billion people to the urban areas by 2050. And most of this increase is going to be taking place in Africa and Asia. They say that India, China, and Nigeria are actually going to make up for 35% of this projected growth. So just for interest's sake, I went and had a look at the Worldometer this morning. By 6:15 this morning, our world's net population growth was already standing at 57,873 people. It's growing all the time. So these two issues, and we must know that all of the urban problems these urban issues can be accredited to number one, the urbanization, and number two is the actual population growth. So it's those two factors combined. So lack of planning is one of them, and most cities start out with certain amount of planning, everything is organized and controlled. However, as more and more people move into the city, it becomes uncontrolled and unplanned. This leads to urban sprawl. It's a term we need to know. It is the unplanned and uncontrolled spreading of urban areas. So possible solutions are to have green belts and keep them designated as such, and no development on them. Better planning, obviously, and older buildings that are not being used or that are dilapidated, they can be removed to make space for planned urban development. If you have a look at this picture on the right-hand side here, this is Liyan city in China. How's that for urban sprawl? So housing shortages. In South Africa, our constitution says that everyone has the right to adequate housing. However, it costs money, and what happens is all of the people moving into the cities, there's not enough low-income housing, so they resort to building their own shelters on vacant land, and this leads to the development of informal settlements. And these settlements, because they're unplanned, there are no basic services. There's no electricity, no sewage, no running water, no refuge removal, and so on. Possible solutions are, of course, that more low-cost housing is provided, and the government is busy with such projects, but there's a massive backlog, and there's been a huge amount of controversy surrounding them as far as corruption is concerned and funds not ending up where it should be and so on. We still refer to these houses as RDP houses. Local authorities are also clearing sites for more informal settlements and providing some basic services in these settlements, such as basic sanitation, electricity, and then refuge removal as well. So then service provision is another knock-on for this. As more and more people are entering the urban areas, the services just cannot keep up with the amount of people. So many areas don't have clean drinking water, proper sanitation is not happening, solid waste disposal, that's refuse disposal, that's not happening, and then of course the electricity system just can't keep up with it. So it often results in unhealthy living conditions and illegal electric connections. These are so dangerous, and many people are killed every year, quite often children, because of these dangerous connections. So solutions they've got are prepaid electricity meters, building reservoirs to pipe water into the areas, better management of solid waste removal, and to prevent disease. But these all cost money and take time. And these are two things that sometimes we don't have. So the overcrowding leads to crowded living conditions, social problems, health problems. There's an increase in demand on the water and electricity supply. The sewage system just cannot cope with the volumes. Overcrowded schools, the clinics become overburdened. There's a huge increase in crime. And of course, with so many people living in confined spaces like this, there's a greater impact of disasters when there are floods or fires. We see this in informal settlements, especially in winter. We see these fires that go through, and it absolutely devastates the areas. So possible solutions are job creation projects, education, skills training, entrepreneurial opportunities. All of these are there. The thing is that we're definitely going to see what is going to happen after. It's going to go down the history books. What is going to happen now after this corona pandemic, what it's going to do to the unemployment rate, what it's going to do to the economy. And then these problems are not going to just disappear. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So the last one that we look at is traffic congestion. In our urban areas, especially during rush hours, our road networks cannot cope with the increased number of vehicles. The other big problem in our country specifically is our public transport systems that are not great. So solutions that they've got are park and ride schemes. Of course, this has to go hand in hand with improved public transport. The Gautrain is something that we've got now to try and alleviate some of the traffic congestion in the Gauteng region. Traffic lights that are synchronized to improve the flow of traffic, that works, and the introduction of one-way roads in the CBDs. These all help. And that's it. Thank you, Grade 12s.